What's going on, guys? John Venus here. Got a new video for you guys today. I'm here with my brother Leo, and by the way guys, check out his channel. A lot of scientific knowledge coming out from this little guy. Link in the description box, so make sure to subscribe. Anyways, today we're gonna talk about low carb, high fat diets and what's up with that. Anyways, you ready for this? Let's do it. Let's tackle it. So, is a low carb diet healthy, or is it good for you?
There's a huge low carb craze going on around the world now, and it's just, you know, people fear carbohydrates and they think that they're going to be healthy replacing them with fats and protein, but you know, this is nonsense. You can see, you know, on the long term it's shown that people who go low carb long term have shorter life expectancies. You know, they have high risk of chronic disease, but it's not necessarily the fact that it's low carb that's so bad. They actually went so far in one study to compare a traditional low carb diet to a plant-based counterpart, and the people who were in the traditional low carb diet had an increased risk of all-cause mortality, while the people on the plant-based counterpart were, you know, it showed to be protective of all-cause mortality and protective of cardiovascular disease. You might do well on a plant-based low carb compared to traditional, but you know, so many of the healthiest foods in the world are really high carb, so I definitely still wouldn't recommend it.
Well, the reason why people recommend it is because, you know, a lot of people have lost a lot of weight doing it, and you know, all studies say that it's good for weight loss. What do you say about that?
Yeah, and that's definitely true. It does give you a lot of weight loss, especially in the beginning, because you're shocking your body, you're starving it from its preferred energy source, carbohydrates. And usually, if you look long term, people who go on low carb, they start gaining the weight back, and plus a bonus compared to when they started. So you know, there might be some exceptions, some people who really restrict their calories and exercise like crazy, but in general, the only people who are not overweight on average are actually people who eat plant-based.
People can lose weight in any kind of diet. You can eat Big Macs all day, and as long as you only eat one or two, you're still gonna lose weight, because the main thing, you know, you have to keep track of is calories. That's the thing that's gonna determine if you lose weight or gain weight. It's energy. So, you know, you can lose weight or gain weight on any kind of diet, but you know, it doesn't mean it's healthy.
Yeah, and it's just like they say as well, that, you know, you have these studies that show that people who lose weight on low carb also lower their cholesterol. But no matter how you lose weight, when you're going down in weight, your cholesterol and your blood cholesterol levels drop. So, you know, even doing chemotherapy, cocaine, all these things will get your your serum cholesterol down, but it doesn't mean it's healthy. Same thing goes for low carb. If you're doing a calorie restrictive diet and you're going down in weight, you're gonna go down cholesterol.
So the people who are actually going on a low carb, high fat diet, the state that they want to achieve is called ketosis, and they believe it is the optimal state of man, and they should be in that state to, you know, perform better and be healthier, basically. What do you have to say about ketosis?
Right, so the thing about ketosis, and you know, it's nonsense that it's a natural state of man. The thing about ketosis is actually an emergency state of the body. When you deplete all your glycogen, all your carbohydrate stores, the body is forced to use something else, and it metabolizes fat and use something called ketone bodies for energy. And it's not even all the cells in the body that can use this for energy. Only some specialized cells, especially in your brain. The ketone bodies are able to pass the blood-brain barrier quite easily, and it's just there to like keep you alive, keep your brain functioning, so that you can, until you can find food. You know, it's the survival adaptation for humans, so that when you're starving, you can still fuel your brain until you can find some more food. So it's pretty much a starvation emergency state. Definitely not optimal or healthy in any way.
Yeah, and obviously when you look historically, let's use the gladiators as an example. Studies have shown that they are like mostly, you know, plant-based, almost 100% vegan, eating a lot of barley, a shitload of carbs, and you know, any athlete, you'll rarely see an athlete going really low carb, especially like long-term for training. So you might have a few of these low carb advocates, but you know, people at the top of their game, they are eating a lot of carbs. And I can speak from experience doing bodybuilding and fitness. When you deplete your glycogen stores, when I'm doing a carb depletion phase for a photo shoot or something, you feel like shit, you feel flat, you look flat, and you know, the strength goes down, and it's just, you feel like shit, you're in a bad mood. So you know,
it goes back as well to the glycogen stores. You know, the glycogen stores in your muscle. Your muscles aren't going to be able to function optimally if you don't have those carbohydrates there.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it is not the natural state of man.
And yeah, even studies have shown as well that on these low carbohydrate diets actually also promote insulin resistance, which is pretty much like the pre-diabetic phase. You know, you're making your insulin less effective at controlling your blood sugar levels.
But they say that carbs cause insulin resistance. What do you have to say?
Yeah, no, it's completely backwards, you know. And I work with people like this every day. I work with diabetics every single day, and every time I talk to them, they tell me, yeah, you know, I'm trying to reduce the amount of carbohydrates. I'm trying to cut down on the fruits, on the potato, you know. But then instead of that, they're eating all the high-fat foods like cheese and butter and all this stuff, and I'm like, you're doing it completely wrong. It's the opposite. Fat has even been shown to have a direct toxic effect on your beta cells in your pancreas, the cells that produce insulin. And you know, studies have shown clearly that insulin resistance is proportional to fat. You can even inject free fatty acids into the blood, and immediately the insulin resistance goes up. And this study right here shows that, you know, insulin sensitivity, how well you respond to your insulin, seems to be correlated with how many years you've been vegetarian. So going vegetarian or eating plant-based and a lot of carbs seems to improve the way your body reacts to your insulin, while eating low carb, high fat makes you insulin resistant and eventually leads to diabetes and lots of other diseases that come along with those animal products.
Yeah. So obviously carbs are not to blame for diabetes, it's fat. And obviously when you think about sugar, fructose and so, I mean sugar from fruit and all this stuff, it's not bad. It's actual like the processed cane sugar or whatever, that's the thing to stay away from. Obviously, you gotta choose whole foods. The reason why people are doing this and they believe in this stuff is because doctors and have been promoting this. There are studies promoting this, research. Well, why do you think you know, there are doctors actually pushing this?
Yeah, no, it's you know, and this is where the common person who doesn't really go into the studies in detail, they definitely, you know, don't really stand much of a chance. It's really, you know, unfair.
Like me.
It's really unfair for these people, because you see, oh, there are doctors saying that, you know, low carb is healthy and stuff, and so why wouldn't we believe in doctors? They're like the icons for health. But, you know, when you actually go in, and that's the thing with studies, people just go on internet and they type low carb, healthy, and then they come to a PubMed study, and then this PubMed study says that low carb lowers your cholesterol, and then people, oh, it lowers cholesterol, so it must lower your risk of heart disease. But, you know, many of these studies are just really bad studies. They're just published just to get published, and, you know, a lot of them are really short term, over like 6 weeks. So an example of this is, for example, a study that showed that cholesterol has no impact on your blood cholesterol, and that you had a group of people eating low cholesterol diets while you had another group of people eating high cholesterol diets. But then, you know, they didn't control for the drugs. They were taking cholesterol lowering drugs like Lipitor, and obviously their cholesterol isn't going to be so high even if they're eating a lot of high cholesterol foods. So, you know, it's these kind of details that you don't see when you just look at the abstract on a PubMed study. You have to actually go in and see how they've done the study. You can find lots of really badly done studies, and even sponsored studies that will show you what you want to hear. And you know, long-term effects of low carb, there are pretty much no studies about that. When it comes to study, you can't just find the first PubMed study and be like, oh, I've debunked everyone who says high carb is healthy because I found a PubMed study that says low carb is healthy. So the only way to know if a study is good or to know the quality of a study is to actually go into the study, read the methodology, read the statistics. Did they interpret the statistics well? Or were there control groups? You know, all of these sorts of things. That you get my point. It's really difficult. It's not something that the average person goes in, and a lot of these studies you have to pay for to see the whole study, and most people aren't going to do that. So you know, most people are just going to find the study on PubMed, and that's the study I'm going to believe in, because, you know, who doesn't want to hear good things about their bad habits? And, you know, as far as the doctors go, you know, people like to believe in what doctors say, but the sad truth is that the doctors, you know, most doctors, they don't have almost any nutritional training in school. All of these doctors who actually are, you know, well informed and know a lot about nutrition have done it out of their own initiative. They've gone and taught themselves pretty much. So just being a doctor does not give you any credentials at all about knowing what food is healthy for you, because it's pretty much doesn't exist in the standard medical training. But yeah, these doctors that advocate for low carb, you know, out of curiosity, I went to their websites. You know, I checked them out. These guys like Andreas Enfeldt, John Briffa, Maidan, and Michael Eads, Willem Davis. I went on their websites, and seriously, so many big statements without any science backing them, and the few statements they did try to back with science with was usually really like short, bad quality studies. No insight to long-term effects of the diet, and a lot of these studies that show no significant correlation. You know, there's typical that you just use these studies that, oh, we did not find the correlation between cholesterol and heart disease, but you know, just finding these inconclusive studies that do not show correlation doesn't disprove of all the good studies, all the good research that clearly shown that animal products and high-fat diets are definitely really bad, and that they, you know, animal products increase the risk of many different types of cancer, you know, allergies, COPD, heart disease, diabetes, you know, multiple sclerosis, the list goes on.
So yeah guys, pretty much a lot of shit research, a lot of it is actually paid by, you know, the meat industry. Unfortunately, you know, it can be corrupt, and obviously you got to be critical. You got to find some really long-term studies and really detailed studies. Just for example, like the EPIC study, which is still going on. It's a very, very good study. Check it out. And yeah, I mean, just be critical, guys. Think, use your own brains, and just question everything, because no one owns the truth. We don't own the truth. Doctors own the truth. We have to just, you know, work to find it ourselves. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my brother's channel, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the like button if you enjoy this video. And as always, I will see you very soon. Peace out.